recollection in the morning.
Good. Nice to sometimes, recollect whatever we have done or whatever has happened in our life. It is always good in that way. Okay, so the question was yesterday Lata wanted to know about Sat-Chit-Ananda, right?
Right.
Okay, at what level you want to know about Sat-Chit-Ananda?
And also to experience, right, brother? That's what your question was.
Yeah, correct. Sat-Chit-Ananda, what exactly it is, we have discussed many times in many different ways. So, yesterday's your video on awareness.
Yes.
Awareness, that was really good. So, similarly, what is Sat? I know it is existence of everything, and so what. But how is that we can see that in on a daily basis or on a moment-to-moment basis? I know that we have a feeling that you exist and you see that all these things around exist, everything exists. But what exactly that existence is?
Okay, nice question. So let us talk from a normal human perspective. Forget about spirituality for time being. A normal person, how he or she leads life. So can be my family, your family, Srihari family, or anyone we have seen. What really happens? The Sat here represents from the starting of the womb till the tomb. That one which you always feel that I am there. So if you were to ask a question, did you sleep well? And the answer would be, yeah, I slept well. I slept well, or I could not sleep well. Can be one answer. I had my lunch or breakfast or dinner. And this I, which seems to be unchanging entity in a normal person life, and he feels that or she feels that he or she exists moment to moment when asked a question. That is the Sat in a normal frame of mind. The Chit is that consciousness which makes this person feel that I exist. So nobody says that an old body slept and a new body woke up, or an old body was hungry and it ate and it became a new body. Nobody says that. So there is always this consciousness, call it as consciousness, and we have subconsciousness, unconsciousness, and coma. These are the four states what we can find. In all of these four states, there is someone who is witnessing. That is from spirituality. But without spirituality, we can still say, I am seeing, I am tasting, I am touching, I am feeling, I am smelling, I am hearing, I am thinking. So, this consciousness which arises in the person and goes away along with the object, giving an impression that he is existing, is that Chit. And a plural of that is Chitta, which is also in English said as mind, because the mind has no other connotation in English, but in Sanskrit or in all Indian languages we can call it as manas. And this manas is the container which contains this chitta. So they have consciousness plus these thoughts which come up. So if you have seen, there are certain lampshades which have this fiber optic kind of thing, and you have these lights, and the moment you switch it on, it'll keep on showing blue light and red light and green light and violet light or something like that. So that those strand of hairs which come up is the chitta, and the color which is coming is based upon the raga, dvesha, moha, what it can have. So this is the chit and the chitta. And ananda is a state when the person, so-called person, as an individual entity, gets what he or she wants. So let us say I want to have dosa today, and my wife prepares dosa, and the name dosa is very dear to me. So I have my dosa and I enjoy. This enjoy word is nothing but the ananda. Because after eating, that person feels blissful. So it can be with relation to coffee and tea, and can be anything, including talking, walking, sleeping, getting up, all the postures when there is no pain in the body and you get what you want to get in the mind. And that state of the mind is ananda. So in a normal human being, Sat represents his identity or her identity. Chit represents the consciousness, like those strand of hairs or strand of those fiber optic ones in an lamp. So these are decorating lamp, and you switch it on and then you see different colors based upon whatever he or she is. And ananda is that enjoyment or fun or happiness or whatever we call that, names, different name to say that I am happy. That's a state of ananda. This is the normal way around. Now the second stage is a person when he comes into some pravachana or discourse, starts to understand the reality, just a sadhaka state. Then the person Sat is that what is unreal and real. So he gets to see that there are certain things called unreal and there are certain things called real. So he is able to discriminate. In that discrimination, there is this light of consciousness called again as Chit. And when he finds that there is unreal and he leaves the unreal, or she leaves the unreal and then gets associated with the real, then there is ananda. Again, there is happiness, but this one is not that much conditioned, yet it is conditioned. Meaning conditioned by to whom he is listening. So there are people who will believe in Ramakrishna Mat. Some people don't believe in Ramakrishna Mat. Some people believe in Aurobindo. Some people don't believe in Aurobindo. Then there's some people believe in Sri Raghavendra. Then some people don't believe in that. Some people believe in Sai Baba. Then there's a lot of people who don't believe in Sai Baba. So whatever it is. So he or she believes in whatever he or she believes. So that is the Sat existence. So there exists something like unreal and real. So he is able to get into Viveka, a little bit of Viveka, and that consciousness which is lighting up that Viveka, he is able to experience, and then there is Ananda because he is understanding. Now after some time, this person goes some more deeper into sadhaka, then able to look at the conditions and remove the conditions. That means he is willing to accept that there is nothing called as parampara. If there were to be parampara, then it is blocking his progress. So he now sees beyond the parampara. Not that parampara was bad, but he knows that there is a bondage in that. Because the existence is unconditioned. cannot be in conditioned existence. If I believe in Ramakrishna, only there is existence, or if I believe in Shankara philosophy, only then there is existence. If there is in Madhva philosophy, only there is existence. It's not like that. Existence is irrespective of whatever anybody agrees or disagrees. So basically, this person then looks Sat in that way. That means there is something existing all the time. And his own existence is immaterial because he can see that while he is sleeping, there is somebody who is still awake, watching the sleeping of everyone. Even though his mind is no longer there, there is something which is still awake. So he starts to perceive this reality and go behind this reality rather than whatever he has read or understood so far. That means this person, if he were to follow Shankara teaching, then he has first started understanding the concept, so he became a Vishayi, and then slowly started walking on the path which is Sadhaka. So once he has become a Sadhaka, his Shravana is ended. Then he is coming into Manana to reflect upon whatever he has learned, and then he is experimenting it through Nididhyasana. In the Nididhyasana, he will go into various states of sadhaka or sadhana. So he might implement the Shankaracharya way of sadhana chatushtaya, the four foundations of the sadhana. As he goes deeper into it, he is able to see this consciousness is unbound. It's not attached to anything. So this existence has always been like that. So it was his misunderstanding to think that there is birth and there is growth and there is decay and there is death. That is there in matter. That is not there in consciousness. And when he explores further, he finds that it is also not there in matter as he thought about, because the matter is changing. And since the matter is changing, it is renamed, or there is a name given to it like birth and growth, decay, old age, death, something like that. Whereas nothing is being born and nothing is dying. So once he actually understands that, he has gained the insight into what is called as deathless state or Mrityunjaya. So that is an Ananda which is endless because it had no beginning, so it will not have any end. So now from sadhaka, he is able to establish, so he's become siddha and called as siddha purusha because he is in that state forever. His mind doesn't get worked up, and this state is called as awareness because consciousness is aware of what is happening. So there are three things which a consciousness can do. It can help the mind through chitta to experience something called as sukha. And also there is some certain chitta which comes up and they're not working to one's expectation, so that becomes dukkha. And there are some states where there is neither sukha nor dukkha. Because this consciousness knows. The knower of the field is this consciousness. Or in other words, he has understood the drashta and the drishti or the drishya. and he knows the object also, which is being seen. So these are the different ways of experiencing Sat-Chit-Ananda. So in a general term, if we can use, then the name of the person is Sat, as a normal human being. If somebody were to ask, is husband existing? And the answer comes, yes, I am the husband. And that wife who is playing the role doesn't know that it is a role she is playing, and she says, yes, I am the wife. So in that context, there is Sat. And then the Chittas are making that experience possible as husband and wife. So there is Ananda of meeting the husband or the wife. You see, let us say, if I could give you a story, a small story which has happened very uh, recently, around 3-4 days ago or a week ago, is that I have my friend here, and he's working for a company where I was also working, and now I quit long time ago, whereas he is still working, and that company where I was working got sold, but she still is working in that same company. So he has a colleague, and his wife went to a medical store to buy some medicine. So the medicine, that shop where she went, somebody was standing there or something like that, and that person had COVID, and she was feeling uneasy in her mind. And then she took the medicine, came back, and she started vomiting, and after some time she felt feverish. So she went to the doctor, and they checked, and they said that you are not having symptomatic. However, you need to stay in the hotel for 4 days. So she stayed for 4 days, and after 4 days they again verified, and they found that she is COVID positive. So she has one son, I don't know the age, and the husband. So now, in this dreamy role of husband, child, and wife, the state of the husband is that, and the child is that, they cannot meet this woman or the wife and the mother for some days, around 14 days. So they have taken her off to a place where they don't know where the government has taken her. And these two people have been asked to do home quarantine, so they don't know. So every day of their passing moment is a pain right now, because the Sat, which has this wife in the eyes of the husband, and a mother in the eyes of the child. And as far as the wife concerned, then the husband and the child are there. Now they have to live separated for 14 days, post which they will be able to meet up. Now, where is this Chit? The Chit is the power through which they are able to perceive this wife, husband, and child. And the Chitta of husband is anxious to meet the wife, whereas the child does not feel like it is seeing its wife. It sees that person as her or his mother. So now that child's anxiety, that is the Chitta, is of a different kind. So let us say after 14 days they are able to meet up. There is an Ananda of getting what you wanted. So the husband gets the wife, the child gets the mother, and the wife gets the child and the husband. So this is the normal worldling. If that person is a sadhaka, he knows that, oh, there is some problem in the role. He says that, okay, there is an issue with this role right now. So the husband role have to be stopped for 14 days. And the child role has to be stopped for 14 days. So his Sat. And the difference of the earlier equation and this equation is that the earlier equation is that Sat is filled with anxiety. In the second equation, the Sat is not that much filled with anxiety because the Chitta are not shaking as much as the first case. But irrespective of that anxiety or no anxiety, that existence is there. So they're existing in that role. And here he knows he's playing a role. So the Ananda of, whereas in the first one there was no Ananda, it was only fear, anxiety, depression and all that, because it is role based. Whereas in the second case, this person is able to have some Viveka, to see that, oh, I'm just playing a role. There is nothing which has happened to me. The person who was playing the role is out sick. So he's another or she's another human being, might come back after 14 days if the role is still open. Otherwise, the person might not be required to play the role any longer. The second case. Third case. The same Sat exists, but there is no role to be played. He knows that the role is played in the mind, not really as a mother or a father or a child. So the child also knows that it is not playing anything other than the role, and that the role is temporary, can change quite frequently. So the bliss, what it gets, both the husband and wife, is unconditioned. Where the second case, slight condition, and the first case is fully conditioned. So in all the three cases, we can see there is Sat-Chit-Ananda. But the first one is tainted with the cloud of ignorance. So the sky exists like that consciousness, but it is covered by cloud. So it is depressing. In the second case, sky was still existing, but the clouds are slightly opened up, leading to the sunlight. So there is some happiness. And the third case, there is no cloud at all. That means there is no ignorance, or avidya is not there. So when there is no avidya, there is no Atma, because now it has merged itself with the Paramatma or the Brahman. It always is eternal and was eternal and remains to be eternal because it was only playing the role, nothing else. Would that make sense?
Yes. So now you have told Sat-Chit-Ananda with the waking world.
Yeah, waking world, and then the sleep, or then the dream state and deep sleep state.
Yeah. So now you explained in terms of the normal human being, sadhaka, and then siddha in three different ways.
Correct.
So all are waking world, right?
Yes.
Sat-Chit-Ananda. So now if you go into the dream world, right?
Dream
For the
world.
dream world, you know that when you're dreaming, that you know that you're existing, and others are also existing.
Yes.
Okay, so then the chit is lighting up whatever you are seeing, whatever is getting played in the mind.
Correct.
But there is no ananda there.
There is no, that itself is ananda, but you are not there to play that ananda, because the mind has to have that identity, ego.
I know, in the dream also you have that identity, no?
For some time, yes, but if you go into deep dreams, then you will not have anything except for these pictures which are coming. So mind is replaying itself.
So that's why there's no ananda there.
Yes, that's the reason there is no ananda. There is no person to enjoy that ananda. See, if you were to close the eyes now, there are some dream-like situation which are coming. And right now, when you close your eyes, you can find that all of these are untrue because your five senses have opened up. In the dream state, the five senses are closed, but the mind is open. And in the deep sleep state, the five senses are mind, both are closed. So there is this consciousness itself enjoying itself. So
Yeah. So deep sleep, I understand. And then when you are in deep sleep, you will not realize anything.
yes,
Okay.
there is.
You come out of the deep sleep, you know that you're high. Okay, you slept well.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So for the dream state, I'm not able to make out where the Ananda is. That's the reason I asked.
Ananda is, see, you need that ego to enjoy you require the personality to enjoy it. In the normal state, when I go and buy something, all the five senses are operating, right?
Yeah.
Or when I do something, including the discourse, what I'm giving, so I know I'm giving something. So there is an anticipation of going well or not going well. So if it goes well, there is ananda. If not going well, there is dukkha. That means the sukha dukkha, this pattern is what I call as happiness and sadness, or whatever, or unhappiness. So that is one kind of ananda. In the dream state, the person exists as a mind, but the senses are not there, right? You cannot sense anything out of it.
Yeah. So when you wake up from the dream, then you feel, okay, it's a good dream or a bad dream.
Correct.
So that's the enjoyment or a dukkha.
Yes, because your senses are back.
Yeah. Okay.
When there is nothing to sense, who is enjoying them? So you will not feel any ananda in the dream state. So that is the reason we are accustomed to believe, even though the waking state is equivalent to dream, but we feel that it is real.
Yeah.
Because of the five senses. See, now I go to office, I work, I am having meeting and this and that. These are all the nama and rupa. Is there anything called as a meeting? No. It is only the verbal sound which is coming. Is there anything called as project? Yes, to a limited extent. Yes, it's only about five elements and consciousness. There is nothing other than that. But then I believe that if the project were to get completed in time, I'm happy. Otherwise, my PDA will have a problem or my appraisal will have a problem. So all of these are unnecessary things, but required. So now my ananda is conditioned. If this happens, then this works. Otherwise, not. Because it is waking state. In the dream state, there is no sense. So now even if the appraisal is there, this is there, that is there, there is no enjoyer there. So you cannot really feel any ananda there. Even though you are seeing that somebody is blasting and something is happening and it might look real, but when you just get up from the bed, you will, oh shit, what did I see? That's what it would be. Because there was no enjoyer or sufferer. In these two states, the difference here is that in the first state, there is five senses, and the sixth sense is the mind, which is operating as thoughts. In the second state, all the five senses are non-operating. Only one sense is operating, which is the mind. So it can't do anything without having the other five senses.
Yeah. So when you die, now when we go to the death state.
Right.
So there also you feel you exist.
Yes.
And it is lighted up by the chitta.
Correct.
And there could be ananda or it could be suffering, hellish thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So who is enjoying, who is suffering? The mind is enjoying and suffering. It gets the body depending upon its karma. So at the time of death, the sat doesn't move anything. The chitta, not chit, the chitta moves into another body along with karma, its own deeds, then along with the rutu, for which, where, how, about the nature, when it should be born, in which location, that is desha and kala. So that is time and space. Then ahara, which is the food with which it has to survive. So at the time of death, it just moves from one existence, physical existence in terms of name and form, to another name and form existence.
Yeah. But it exists. Even if there is no name and form, then still that existence is there.
Yes, that existence is going to be there. It is unnamed, but it is there.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we have two kind of existence. One is a named existence, one is unnamed existence. So then in Sanskrit it is called as vyakta if it is named or it is established. Avyakta means unestablished or yet to take shape. But in both the states, existence is there.
Yeah.
But it is still not manifested. When we say avyakta, means it is unmanifested. Vyakta is manifested. But in both of them, there is existence. And what is existing? It is the chit which is existing. Now when it exists, what happens? It becomes chitta, plural. And Ananda is now dependent on the chitta, what comes inside that container called manas. So whatever that is conditioned, the person gets conditioned happiness or gets into conditioned sadness because he thinks he is or she is that person and then suffers.
Yep. So now that is all these living beings, human beings. Now let us take one stone.
Right.
Stone also exists.
Correct.
Sat is there.
Yes.
And it is held together because of the chit.
Correct. But there is no Ananda.
There is no Ananda because there is nothing to feel. There is no sense always.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
That state where it is bound together by consciousness itself is Ananda.
Yeah, okay.
So then we come into a state called as sentient and non-sentient beings. Sentient beings are those beings who have mind separated out of consciousness. Non-sentient beings are those who doesn't have anything called as mind but has only consciousness. That is a plant. They are conscious of their existence, but they don't have anything called as mind, which can perceive and which can feel. And it can react because of that. From a single-celled organism till whatever we see, some are sentient and some are not. Now the problem comes, Lata, is that who decides this? This is where everybody gets stuck. How does one decide it should be a single cell or whatever? So in the Sankhya philosophy of Kapila Muni, he said that something called as Mahat. So just explaining to my wife an hour ago, what is this Mahat? Mahat is called as universal intelligence which knows exactly how matter should take shape. Now the question comes, how does it know? Then comes some concept called as Shakti. Because of the Shakti, it knows what needs to be done. Now, how did Shakti come to know what needs to be done? Because of the blessing of the Purusha, this Shakti has it. So Shiva blesses Shakti, Parvati, and she then knows what to do with Mahat. Now this is, it goes in circles and circles if we were to keep on arguing. So what they say is, yes, there is Mahat and there is Mula Prakriti called as Rajas, Tamas, Sattva. These two combination together then depending upon the karma of the person or the jiva, it manifests vyakta itself into various forms, because now it has to enjoy or suffer its existence. So once turned into a sentient being, it is now law of karma in operation. Now, does that mean one becomes plant and trees don't have karma? They do have, but they don't have to exist with mind. So now this, when established with the mind, it becomes chitta. Now it looks like an independent existence other than the chit. So it keeps on creating raga, dvesha, moha in its chitta and keeps on suffering along with that. So, depending upon the karma and the raga, dvesha, moha residue, a person is granted something called as intellect, called as buddhi. So, some people have manda buddhi, some people have good buddhi, shrestha buddhi. How this shrestha buddhi happened? Because of their good deeds. How the manda buddhi happened? Because of their bad deeds. But there is no person in this world, a human, who doesn't have buddhi. There is no animal in this world who doesn't have buddhi. But what's the difference between an animal and a human being then? Animal buddhi is restricted to that particular species. It cannot think beyond, it cannot use its intellect beyond that. So the chimpanzee and the monkeys and elephant, some of these animals have good buddhi, so they can do tremendous things other than their usual. But otherwise, all the other beings, generally they do what it is meant for. That is, when we look at the buddhi, four things are available in a buddhi. That is to eat, find food for eating, then sleep, then breed, then fear. These four comes from the buddhi. The same thing is also there with human being and also there in animals. The creativity, that is utpatti tattva, differs from being from different species to species, and in human species it is greatest. So we can create whatever we want from the mind. So mind is completely established as in the human form. So this buddhi differs now in the human body based upon the karma. So even in that, manda buddhi person who doesn't have any what I can say, the intellect, and whose physical body is also not that much good, still Sat exists. That is a consistent thing. In that way, it is Sat-Chit-Ananda.
Okay, good explanation. So in the Ishvara, so it is the cosmic mind,
Mm-hmm.
plus Maya. So Satchidananda is in the maximum glory. Is it?
Now, Satchidananda is purely established in Shiva without any taint. So, if we take the, like I was talking about that blue color, right, where you show Shiva and Vishnu and all that, it's pure consciousness, untainted by any color, either of attraction or repulsion or delusion, raga, dvesha, moha, which is beyond these name and forms, which is beyond whatever is being called or whatever is being said, that will remain blue. So when we show Shiva and the Vishnu and some other deities in blue, including Subramanya, Murugan, all that, or whatever, Krishna, all that in blue. What we're trying to mean there is that they are not tainted by Raga, Dvesha, Moha. It's pure consciousness. So there exists nothing other than themselves.
Okay, so then all these Ishvara, the
Mhm.
God, they are all pure Sat-Chit-Ananda.
Yes, they are Sat-Chit-Ananda. And they have become that Tattvamasi, meaning they have become pure consciousness. Let us say, for example, if we were to reach that state of pure awareness,
Hmm.
there is no identification as mine and you and this and that. What happens to your Sat Chit Ananda? You are always in Ananda. There is no other Ananda than that, right?
Correct.
The worry comes when I am associated with something. See, now I am associated with ABB or some other company. Then there is this worry because it has to work the way I want to work, or it has to work the way they want it to work. So there is thisness and otherwiseness.
Hmm.
So there are two banks now, right? I'm standing on one bank and I don't want the other bank to exist. And it's a river, so you can't say that only one bank will exist. Not possible. Then the person has to keep on hopping between this bank and that bank, and when he stands at that bank, he feels this bank is better, again he comes back here. Okay. So what if somebody has got established? So in Sanskrit it is called a tatastha. Tata means bank, asta means established. So if a person has become tatastha, he is unmoved. He doesn't move. Satchidananda is a state where you don't move. And that's the reason there is always Ananda. If you move, then there is no Ananda because the movement is conditioned.
Yeah.
So if I were to work and I know for what reason I'm working, whether I'm working in A assignment or B assignment or C assignment, there is nothing to possess or to lose. Just like that example what I gave yesterday on the light. So there is a switch and you switch on it. The light doesn't worry about whether you have a table or a chair or a sofa or a bed or full of clothes or clean or unclean, a cockroach being there, a lizard being there, or some other thing being there. When in darkness I couldn't see anything, but when in light, the light doesn't distinguish anything. It doesn't say that, okay, if you are unclean, I will not light you up. If you are clean only, then I will light you up. No,
Hmm.
it just lights up. So that is the chit. But the chitta differentiates because the chitta's function is to take something for itself and leave something which is not itself. So there is suffering in the mind, not in the physical body. The physical body has come out of food and it is existing because of food, not because that it is existing because of me. It is there because of food. If I don't go give food for 3 months, this body will not exist. Simple. But still the existence exists, right?
Correct. Correct.
So just because a person is dead doesn't mean that the world came into world went out. No, world exists even after the person has gone because still there is existence, but not in that named way. So this Brahman state, what we are talking about, is that pure consciousness which is untainted. It remains blue forever.
Okay. So once you really establish in that Satchitananda, then your aura will become blue fully.
No, that is, yeah, aura, what happens, I don't know, because then it will be still be golden or blue or whatever it is for an outside world. See, the halo, what they show of saints, it is because that they can emit that golden color. The body starts emitting that golden color light because of fire inside. And the fire is not, it also has blue, red, and yellow, right?
Yeah.
So you can't have any fire which is only blue in color.
Correct.
So the mind of the person is blue, but the body emission is the light.
Mm.
So now, if you were to see that person, immediately you can recognize there is a light light golden light appearing throughout his body.
Mm.
And that is what attracts the person. Meaning, will I really see it in that way or I don't see it in that way? That depends on the ability of the person. To cite
But
an, yeah, go
you
ahead.
can sense it.
Yes, you can sense it. So actually, this girl who knows this pranic healing, so she was telling me that my energy here is coming to her home, which is around 1.5 kilometers from my place.
Mm.
Now, why this is not felt by others then? If either she is telling lies or I am dreaming or something like that. But those people to whom they can sense the energy, they can feel certain amount of calmness. Let us say, as an example, they don't know for what this calmness is appearing, but they might feel calmness, or they might feel at peace, or they might feel happy. There are these conditions might start to happen in the person if they are sensitive to energy. What if somebody is not sensitive to energy? He will never notice anything. Even now, as we speak, there are energies which are not good, meaning to say that they can be irritant. But if your mind is not tuned to that, you will never be able to hear. Just like the radio stations where we'll tune into that FM channel and then you will not be able to receive other FM channel. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. They do exist, but you are not able to hear to that because you have changed your channel. So this existence, consciousness, bliss is something like that. It always exists. So it depends on how much receptivity we have, or the antenna what we are carrying, are we receptive? So she was finding some problem with her health, and she told me that she was chatting with me. Then I told, okay, now I'll meditate and see what happens. So then I was passing that energy to her. So in 20 minutes time, her jaw problem went away. Now the question can be asked, oh, she might be doing it herself, maybe one option, or she's already got rid of this I as an entity, second option, or the energy what I was sending, I just say I was sending, but there is no I in that, so it is going just like that and it's working. Yes, that is also correct, third option. Fourth option, she is just uh, hallucinating and it is not true. That is the fourth option. So anything can be an option, but there is still energy that is existing, whether somebody believes in it or somebody doesn't believe in it. Without energy, there can't be any radiation. So if we agree that there is radiation, then there is energy. So this energy can be blue in color, which is true, but how it appears is different. So it need not be always blue. And the reason why in all our scriptures, when they have written Shiva or Vishnu or anything at all, and they have shown it blue, is for the reason that blue is that consciousness color. Because if you take the flame, the below flame which is blue in color is one which will balance out the entire burning. Otherwise, there is this immediate burning of the red color flame and a medium flame of yellow, whereas this is even. So there is a reason why it is done that way.
Okay.
So Srihari, you have become totally silent.
I have hijacked his session.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm trying to gather the knowledge and understanding, digest.
Okay. Do you think it is too much?
So this is a different concept which I have not been touched upon.
Right.
Good to know all this, and then maybe I'll park it aside and then try to digest it.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I have hijacked Shiri's session. I had planned when I joined this that I will not ask any questions and I'll leave it to you, Srihari, how to want. I was just supposed to be
if you are not asking, I will not get and exposed to all this the knowledge. Yeah.
So that was my plan, that I will just listen and not ask anything and derail it.
No, that is okay. See, as long as there is benefit, it is good.
Yeah.
And that also helps me to experience it myself as well.
Yeah, so that's what I'm just trying to see what this awareness is and then trying to become and that awareness or trying to look at everything from that awareness point of view.
Yes.
Including
So,
myself, my thoughts, the sounds I hear from outside, everything.
yes. So to practice awareness, Lata, there is a very simple thing. So let us say there is a sound of vehicle coming, and there is a music system being played by, let us, by your daughter, and your husband, let us say, is watching TV, and then somebody has gone to the restroom and he is making some noise. Let's say these are the four things which are happening simultaneously. If I name them, then it becomes personalized. If you name them, if you don't name them, what happens? Let us say, if you were to enjoy that, if you were to just look at that, you will be in Ananda. That very moment you are in Ananda.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. There are so many sounds which comes. The
Correct.
Train going, this peacock cries, this pigeon is sitting next to this door, that all that. So many sounds are coming.
Correct.
But it's very difficult not to identify because as soon as you hear it, that identification immediately comes. Okay, that's a pigeon, that's a peacock, this is a train and all that.
Yes. So we have to do two things. One is that we identify as a conventional reality.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I say train, the train doesn't get established anywhere except in the mind.
Correct.
But when I say train, what happens? It is only in the verbal expression sound.
Yes.
So if you're saying pigeon, it's again a sound. And then if you say peacock, it's again a sound. So the objectification as a rupa is coming subsequently from the mind.
Right.
Because the mind has seen this object in its young age.
Yes.
If it had not seen, if you say peacock, then somebody will have to ask, what is a peacock? And then you will say, what? You have not seen a peacock? I'll show you, come. And then the moment you show that person peacock, he hears peacock and he sees, so he will combine what he's seeing with what is being said and keeps it in his mind. So next time the peacock word is said, immediately it brings up that object.
Yeah, that association.
That association. Correct. Now, in the peacock, what you had shown, it was having a different color. Whereas in another place, the color is different. And then they say peacock. And then this guy will ask, hey, wait, I saw one peacock, but it was not of this color. Then they say, my dear friend, there are varieties of peacock. And this is another peacock. Oh, I see. Okay, now he has updated. His mind, chitta, is now updated with that. So peacock as one now has different rupas. Similarly, Lata as one has different rupa. One as a mother, one as a wife, one as a boss, one as a colleague, one as neighbor, one as so and so. So like we can have many varieties. So one lata can become 15-20 different akruti forms. One Sri Hari can become same 15-20 akrutis or the form, and one Vilas can become 15-20 akruti. So this akruti formation is what is called as mithya, because there's no satya in that. This is called jagat. So one who can really see this jagat, see, we are not stopping with the person name. We are then objectification starts. He is so and so. He is the son of so and so, or he is the father of so and so. He is the husband of so and so. He is a colleague of so and so. He is a friend of so and so. He is a neighbor of so and so. He is from so and so state. He is from so and so district. Then he is from so and so country, and so from so and so religion, so and so caste, so and so creed, so and so, let us say, tradition, and then so and so belief system. Oh my goodness, we can keep on creating these magical things forever. None of them is
true. That is true. But when you are simply sitting and seeing what you are, then you will feel you are none of those.
None of those. And none of those, when you really see and you come to know, it is only sound, it's only sight, it's only taste, it's only smell, it's only touch, it's only thought. What happens? You become Ananda. That's all. Because you see, Lata, even in that name Lata, the existence is there, right?
Yes.
Now, who is Lata? There is no person called Lata, because we are calling a Sharira or the body which is diminishing moment by moment as Lata. So if that body then perishes, then what happened to Lata? It's gone. Now we take one photograph of that person and then garland it, saying that, oh, born so and so date and died so and so date, because we don't know what else to do with that. This is the Nama and Rupa. So coming out of Nama Rupa will give you a complete liberation, because that is the pure Ananda. This is conditioned Ananda. As long as Lata exists, as long as this exists, as long as that exists, there is happiness. That is, as long as wife exists, as long as husband exists, as long as children exist, as long as job exists, there is happiness. So when that is not there, then what happens? Unhappiness. But Sat-Chit-Ananda is beyond that. It can't be with relation to that objectification. So with stopping objectification, you are released. You means you have been always Brahman, so there is no need for you to establish as Brahman again. And that is the reason Shankara said Aham Brahmasmi, because he himself is Brahman. So what more testimony somebody has to give? So it's very simple in that way.
Okay. So we have done 1 hour.
Yes, we have done exactly another 2 minutes going. It's 1 hour.
Very excellent session today.
Welcome. So should we stop?
Yeah, I think we can stop.
Okay. Otherwise, I can keep on going forever like this.
Yeah. I can also keep on going and listening forever. So now I have to go and do something.
Okay. All right then. No worries. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.